Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. And in today's video what I'm going to be talking about is opening of rural economy in the wake of new normal. Now this is a topic which I had selected for a competition in which I recently participated, and also I have good content developed on the same, and with that I could also put the same information before you which I have collected, and also there's a brainstorming of ideas, and this is a very general topic. So if you're interested in it, you can also research on your own about the other aspects of the same topic. And for deep knowledge about the same, what I'll be giving you is a slight introduction of the same, and I will be trying to be very superficial about the topic. But still, I'll try to give an entire overview of the same as well. The topic is basically divided into 5 parts. The first will come with the statistics, second will come with the problems of the same, and third I will be covering about the conventional measures or solutions to the same topic, that is the waking of rural economy, or the development of rural economy rather. And after that will be followed by novel methods or novel solutions which I have myself thought for, and after that I'll be concluding the same topic. So when it comes down to rural economy, what is let's say Gandhiji, the father of nation, once said that the heart of India and heart and soul of India lies in villages. So that very phrase defines how much rural economy is important. And if we consider, almost 68.8% of population of India stays in villages, and of which 46% of India's economy is ruled by, or rather supported by, the rural economy. So that's a very huge chunk, let me say. And if that comes down to, let's come down to one more statistical fact. Almost 70% of people in India stay in villages. Let's consider with that. And of, let's say if there's 100% of population in villages, of the same 70% of population is also dependent on economy that's related to agriculture. Like agrarian economy is a term for the same. And what we have saw in COVID, like after the pandemic, there's decrease in demand and there's therefore decrease in supply, which has raised to disruption of economic outlines. And also let's consider agriculture as the only performing sector in the wake of pandemic. We really need to focus on it, and that is the sector which can only revamp India's economy on a huge scale and to the magic which we expect. And now let's come down to problems. One major problem which we saw in pandemic was reverse migration, like the population which had traveled to urban areas went back to rural areas. Now that is a load for the rural economy to sustain. Like there will be huge population and they'll have to fill their tummies, and it not just comes with the food, but it comes with various barriers as well. And after that, we have seen there was less demand, which led to less supply. And let's conclude this with an example. COVID-19 came, it led to disruption of markets, which led to disruptions of demand, which led to disruption of supply, which led to confusion between farmers of what to produce and what not. And that's why there came the economic disruption. And also there were rumors as like COVID-19 is spread from chicken and animal products. So that was one major blow to the farmers or agricultural economy. And also there was no marriages, there was restaurants were shut. So that led to less demand of food products or whatever the farmers sell to restaurants. By that I mean the food or the grains that are sold to restaurants. So that were reduced to a substantial amount, and which also led to disruption in supply and demand. Also comes in a problem which the government needs to focus on is logistics. Like there's very poor transport, and I won't reiterate any state or any union territory here, but poor transportation is really a huge problem. And also with that comes is storage problem, warehouse problem. So that needs to be focused as well. And now what are the conventional solutions, I'll say. So the first conventional solution is very basic. Food processing units need to be started, because that's where India really lacks. We are producing large amounts of paddy, we are producing wheat, but there's nothing that India does on the producing or the processing front. So that needs to be focused on. If that is done, then the prices of commodities would increase and farmer would gain. So that could be one possibility. And also India, like the farmers or for growing the rural economy, what we need to do is like setting up of MSMEs in villages, which is very far idea, but still that can happen, and that can be helpful for the development of rural economy. And what the government can do after the phase of pandemic is loan waivers can be provided, or rather need to be provided, to sustain the farmers, and so that we should reduce the suicides which happen. Like, we can't totally nullify them, but reduction is really one thing which we can optimally hope for. And also Kisan credit card schemes, like there should be increase in monetary benefits for the same. And also Manrega scheme that is provided by the government. So what government needs to do is amplify the same, revamp it, and produce more employment, local employment rather, so that the ones who have migrated would not turn back to where they had already migrated. So that can be one done. And reforms in APMC and MSP, that is one thing which we have been asking for since decades, and now we have it. We are not ready to accept it still. There is another concern, but reforms in APMC and MSP are undoubtedly needed. So that is one thing which we need to focus on. As I said, MSMEs. And one thing I really like to focus on is what establishment of schools and colleges is in villages is really necessary. Because in my village, I'll be very honest here, there's school till 10th and there's no college after that. So what happens is the children stay in villages, and after that it leads to innovative minds in villages. So if that happens, there could be development of innovative ideas, and then the same ideas could be implemented in rural economy, and then that could lead to the growth of rural economy as well. And also industries aren't focused towards rural areas, as they consider there's no skilled population. So skill development should be provided to the rural people, and it will ultimately lead to setting up of industries, and that could be also a good measure for rural economy. And also there are various other rural sectors, agrarian sectors rather, which are not very much focused by the government or not promoted on that part as well. So there's fishery, there's animal husbandry, there's horticulture, and there's minor forest produce. These are some sectors which are very abundant in India. So if they are focused, then we can certainly raise the rural economy as for what it is now. So that is one thing which the government and the population, that's what is very important. The population and the public needs to be literate about. And now, as I said, some novel measures about the same. The first and very basic thing I think what the population and the people need to have is literacy. Like, I know in my village, there's barely anyone who knows about whatever we share on the open platforms. The farmers need to be literate. So for that, there should be libraries set up, there should be newspapers, and this all should happen via government, because this is very necessary. Literacy is the only thing that can empower farmers, or rather anyone. So that is one thing. And studying local conditions, like that should be one basic idea as well. Like, local conditions may vary for place to place, so local conditions need to be studied for every area, and that should be displayed for the same areas as well. So that could help the local population therein. And implementation of artificial intelligence is very possible in rural economy, and whatever the concept may be, they need to be implemented via engineers and other technicians that should be interested in working towards rural economy. So that can be one thing. And as I talked about skill, and 3 models of improving rural economy are Swaraj, that is given by Gandhiji, which says village is the fundamental unit of country that needs to be developed. And indeed it is a fundamental unit of country, because the growth should go from rural to urban, which is these days reciprocal of the same. So what happens is growth comes from urban to rural. So that is one thing we need to focus on. It should be definitely rural to urban. And also there comes a model of our former president Abdul Kalam. He said that there should be implication of science in rural economy rather. So that can be one part as well. Like, if there's induction of science, it will definitely lead to effective measures and effective rural economy. And the last is Nanaji Deshmukh model, which says development of integral humanism. Like, there should be clusters of markets, and there should be competitiveness in the people therein, which could lead. Like, if there's for giving an example, there's a village in Madhya Pradesh, Chitrakoot, which followed the same model. And to your astonishment, I shall very proudly say there's no family or anyone in that village who is below poverty line. So that is one, like if we see a successful model rather. Now we don't know how much others produce their genuine details about the ration cards, but that is one thing about the same village. And if that is one thing, so we can definitely say that the model is successful. And I'd like to conclude with saying that rural economy is not a weakness, but rather a stronghold of India. Like when we consider, or when we see there's 68 or 70% of the population staying in rural area, so that should be definitely a stronghold. And with these steps, or any steps that government just gives on paper, if they are properly implemented, India could definitely be world's food basket. So that's it for today. And thank you. I hope you liked the video. Please like, share, and subscribe.